You're listening to the Armchair GM Sports Network.
This is Rod Mahood, your in-game voice of the Niagara IceDogs, and you're listening to the Dog Pound Podcast on the Armchair GM Sports Network, your podcast source for all game analysis, team interviews, and up-to-date news regarding the Niagara IceDogs.
Perlini! Overtime! IceDogs win! They score! Verhage was also jamming away. It's a power play goal for the IceDogs. And they score! Hosang, first goal as an IceDog. Strom stops Shipley. Richie scores! Gets it to Akil Thomas. Thomas has the angle coming in. He scores!
Welcome into another Niagara IceDogs game recap right here on the Dog Pound Podcast, the official podcast of your Niagara IceDogs. Proudly brought to you by Global Pet Foods, where pets are undeniably part of the family in all four of their great Niagara region locations. Brandon Caputo and Cam Halbert are with you to break down the IceDogs' 5-3 victory over the Guelph Storm here on a Thursday night at the Meridian Centre in front of 2,926 fans here in downtown St. Catharines. We'll also hear from head coach Ben Boudreau on the Wild Bills auto repair postgame, as well as our Cullies player interview with newcomer forward Blake Arrowsmith, recently acquired from the London Knights earlier this week. Guys, make sure to give us a follow on X at Dog Pound Podcast. Stay up to date with all of our IceDogs coverage, as well as on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And thank you to those watching on the live stream on YouTube on our Armchair GM Sports Network YouTube channel. Make sure to hit like and subscribe and smash that bell. And thank you to those listening the next day on your favorite on-demand audio platform. So, Cam, good effort, good bounce back from the IceDogs tonight after the way last week ended in the teddy bear toss game against Sudbury, where they gave up a late goal and weren't able to pick up a point, and specifically against this Guelph Storm team where they lost 8-5 up in Guelph a few weeks ago with that late Donnybrook that ended up becoming a 2-game suspension for Captain Kevin He. But what did you think of the response of the IceDogs coming out with their first of 3 games this week?
Oh, I think it was big, and I think that this game definitely had that nasty edge to it. I mean, the IceDogs going through their first little skid of the season, really, with a 1-3-1 record over the last 5 games, including the last loss to Sudbury. So riding the ship against Guelph, who is currently in last place in their conference. So a game that you kind of need to have, especially with the IceDogs, performing well and trying to stay atop their division, which they did reclaim today, now leading the Central Division, overtaking Barrie, I believe, with Barrie's loss tonight, combined with the IceDogs winning, and now just 3 points back of Kingston with a game in hand. So, a really good bounce-back effort, and I really thought the lineup looked great top to bottom. We started to see things sort of fall into place. We started to see some players kind of move down and up the lineup and kind of fall where they might once we get a little bit healthier, but the trade and acquisition of Arrowsmith, great name, by the way.
Unbelievable.
Coming over from London, he actually looked quite good. It took a little while in the first period to get the chemistry with Robert Gonzaga, but he really settled in and, again, made everyone else kind of fall in line when it comes to positions in the lineup, and it's only going to get better once Asadorian and Paris come back.
We had another returnee tonight, Charlie Robertson, back as dressing as the backup goaltender for Owen Flores. That's great news, because now we know going forward that if Owen Flores needs to have a night off, that Charlie Robertson is the guy that can go in there and do that. He's been off for multiple weeks, so nice to see number 77 back on the bench.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think it's just more of a safety blanket more than anything right now. I don't see Flores coming out of the net at all, just based on, Ben Boudreau's style of coaching kind of rides the hot hand, and Flores has been so good for so long now since Charlie's absence. It's going to take something pretty bad for him to get into the lineup or into a game, I think. But now when there's 3 and 3s or 3 and 4, I think that is going to take some of the load off of Flores, who we're going to need later in the season, especially. So definitely good to see him back, and I'm wondering when his first game might be. I don't know if it'll be this weekend, but again, good to see, because when he wasn't there, there was really no safety net. There was a couple instances over the last couple weeks where it looked like he might get hurt, or he was hurt and managed to stay in the game, and then he faced 150 shots in 3 games and somehow managed to stay in for that 3 and 3. So again, just credit to Flores, but it's great to see that Robertson's back.
Absolutely. So we'll get into it with our game stats tonight, brought to you by Gales Gas, your go-to gas station in the Niagara region. They're not just a gas station, they're a local tradition, because when it comes to fuel, you're going to Gales with multiple locations across Niagara. Cam, the IceDogs outshot the Storm 40-35. The third period was a little bit murky there. The Storm had outshot the IceDogs 7-2 at one point in the third period when they were kind of hemming them in their own zone. But for the IceDogs to put up 40 shots here, that's a good effort tonight. Braden Gillespie did not start for the Guelph Storm. It was Ellsworth, their young goaltender. So the IceDogs definitely had a game plan of throwing shots on him, and 40 shots is a pretty good number there. Yeah, I mean, there hasn't been many games at all this season where the IceDogs have outshot their opponent, and you could definitely tell in the second period. We'll get into the goal summary, but in just a little bit. But yeah, he definitely looked a little shaky, and the IceDogs kind of took note of that in the second period with a little bit of an onslaught, one of their best periods offensively of the season. But you got to take advantage of when a team comes in and they want to play their backup. They got to make sure that they take advantage of that, and especially when the alternative is Braden Gillespie, who's still one of the best goaltenders in the league. And then we get to the power play, and again, the IceDogs continue to have opportunities in the power play, but not be able to bury there. They were 0 for 2 on the night on the man advantage. And again, they're near the bottom of the league as far as power play percentage goes. I know in the last week, Ben Boudreau was a little bit more pleased with what they were doing, but now that they're able to get another right-handed forward in Arrowsmith, you would expect that him and Doherty would see some power play time, given that they're the only 2 healthy right shot forwards until Matthew Paris is back. Niagara currently 16th, or as far as power play goes, they're actually up to 7th place in the OHL, but that's because they got off to such a hot start, colder as of late. But what did you see from the power play, and they just didn't go in? I just also want to point out they're one of the lowest penalty drawn teams in the league. I don't know if I'm saying that right. They haven't drawn a ton of penalties in comparison to some of the other teams in the league. So that might be because a lot of their offense comes off of the rush and in quick plays. It's not a lot of cycling down low and things like that to drive. But nonetheless, I thought it looked good. But that second period, it's going to take some time to gel. I think that's the big thing. It is going to take some time to gel for them, to kind of get it together, especially with a brand new player added in. Again, I think this is something. Again, 7th in the OHL isn't terrible when you consider last year it was under 10%. So they've more than doubled it, and we talked about that coming in at training camp. That if they could just get to something that's somewhat respectable at 15%, they're probably a playoff team. So the fact they're above 20 now and still missing 2 players that will 100% be on their power play units, I think that's not bad. And I do like that the defensemen as well, like Brody and Virgilio, have been a lot more active in it, and Wysick. So again, once everyone comes back, it'll be interesting. But I think over the next few games, we might see Arrowsmith. And then they were 3 for 3 on the penalty kill tonight, and that was an area that they've really struggled in. Currently 16th in the Ontario Hockey League with a 75.7% on the penalty kill. But they went 3 for 3 tonight against a very lethal Guelph Storm team that has some top-end talent on it, with the Maxim Mesnikovs, the Jet Luchenkos, Jake Carabellas, Cam Allen at the point, and they did a good job tonight of limiting them to no goals on the man advantage. No, it's always huge. They're going to have to continue to improve upon that. And again, that might be I don't know if that's a personnel thing that'll change much over the season as well. I mean, if it continues to flounder a little bit, tonight was a good performance, but they usually tend to use a lot of their top pairs. So the top one being, Kevin as well as Loshko,
Cogeco, and then you see a lot of Zada and Rubric, Galianov sprinkled in there as well. But you want to see if the bottom 6 guys can really take a hold of that, because anytime that like I just mentioned, they're among they draw some of the fewest penalties in the league, but they're tied for 3rd in the league in penalties called against, right? So they get penalized quite a bit, and that just means that when your top 4 of your top 6 are out there killing penalties, then they're not right back on the ice after the penalty's killed, right? So, you'd love to see, Mason Ray step up, things like that. So, and I think he will. Again, he's a player. Tonight, I thought he had another fantastic game. So, I think that hopefully we see that again once everyone's healthy. But, I know Asadorian would probably be a good penalty killer. I mean, he has been so far throughout his career here. So, the type of player he is, just high motor. So.
And that great play by Kevin He using his speed to draw that penalty right after the Guelph had that power play opportunity, and that really squashed their last one.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like in the OHL, there's not a ton of great. When the plays are forced from along the blue line, those passes, or you get a player that breaks it up in the middle. Not a lot of the players in the OHL have the ability to keep up with someone like Kevin, right? So that's the danger to him. And I remember last year he had a ton of shorthanded goals. It felt like. Mm-hmm. Again, I think that the IceDogs have historically been over the last couple of years, the one area that they have been half decent. I remember last year that they were
second behind London.
I was about to say second behind London. I know Gavin had a ton, but Kevin was a large part of that. So, and again, obviously keeping him on the penalty kill gives that advantage. But again, like I said, I'd love to see some of the bottom 6 guys get into it.
Face-off 39-29 in favor of the Guelph Storm tonight. Best guys on the dot for the IceDogs. 13-22 for Ethan Zada. Andre Loshko struggled tonight. 6 of 22. Usually you see him as the IceDogs' best face-off man. Mason Ray 5 of 13. Sean Doherty 4 of 7. Max Crete 1 of 1. Anything catch your eye there tonight?
Well, yeah, Loshko actually early on struggled quite a bit, and it led to quite a few cycles in the zone. But he was going up against Jet Luchenko a lot. That's always going to be very difficult when you go up against a first-round pick in the NHL. So again, I'm not really all that worried about it, but the one thing I will say is that it's great that Zada has really elevated his game in that aspect, because last year that was the issue where he was playing half decent defensively, wasn't contributing a ton offensively, but his face-off percentage was quite low. But this season it's definitely improved, and all around he is we're watching him become one of the better players in the OHL, and it's a huge reason as to why they've had such good success over the last little while.
Get into our goal summary tonight, brought to you by the Niagara Employment Hub Center, helping people find work in Niagara since 1983. Check out their up-to-date job board at ehc.on.ca to find your next work opportunity today. No scoring in the first period, Cam, but Guelph comes out with an early goal in the second. They also did that in the third period with Vilmer Aldrichson getting the goal from Jet Luchenko and Cam Allen, their top guns, coming through for the Guelph Storm. But what we want to get to is in that middle part of the second, where the IceDogs were down 1-0. They score 4 unanswered goals. We'll start with Ryan Rubrick's goal from Ethan Zada. Callum Chanowski gets the secondary assist on it. But number 12 and number 25, they were drafted 2nd and 5th overall last year. They've been attached at the hip almost for the entire season this year. Ben Boudreau loves putting his 2 top 5 picks on display, and their chemistry just seems like it's taken another, it's stepped up to another gear this year.
I want to start somewhere else, actually. The first, because there was a sequence, the beginning of the second period, Max Crete had an awful penalty at the end of the first, and it wasn't a power play goal against, but it was definitely power play influenced, because I believe it was like 7 or 8 seconds after the power play ended for Guelph, and they scored immediately, or his next shift. Max, obviously had a rough first period. He immediately ends up getting into a fight with, I believe it was Cameron Stevens.
Yes.
And I didn't see the play. It happened really behind the play. We know Max has kind of been chomping at the bit for his first career fight at home. And, man, did he look the part. Again, not the biggest guy, but good Lord, did he look like he knew how to throw him. And handled himself extremely well. Definitely won the fight. But the reason why I bring that up is because it was really quiet in here, and there wasn't a ton of energy. It was a very physical game, but there just wasn't a lot happening, from a crowd or a team excitement. I thought that was a veteran move by a player that saw that his team needed a bit of a jolt, and right immediately after that, you have that Zada rush where he holds off 2 guys and throws a nice feed in front of Robrick, who makes no mistake. And again, it's just great to watch those two, obviously connected at the hip because of their draft position, but nonetheless, it's been great to watch them develop after the opportunities because again of the injuries.
And then it was the second goal, but I'm glad you mentioned the Max Cree thing, because that really was the momentum changer in the game, especially after he had a first period that he would want to forget about, but bounced back right away.
You could see it on the bench. Like, it was just there was a buzz after that, and that they really got going and they didn't stop.
Mike Levin gets the goal on just happened to be in front of the net, and good things happen when you go to the net. Jack Brody takes the point shot, hits off Mike Levin, goes in, gives the IceDogs a lead. Goals just over 2 minutes apart.
How about Jack Brody? He's 18 points now in, I believe, 22 games. And there was a lot of people and a lot of pundits when the trade was made to get Jack Brody here that was maybe an overpayment or not a good deal by the Armchair GMs, not us, obviously, the Armchair GM Sports Network. But he has been fantastic, and that play right there, Levin just in the right spot. Levin had such a rough start to the season just because of how good he did last year. Out of nowhere, really. We didn't expect him to. He filled in a role, and he was putting pucks in the net last year and became a great agitator. He scored a few goals over those last few games, and including the hat trick against Sioux a couple games ago. And that's what happens when things start going well. When things start going well, the pucks, that was an ugly one for him, and it was just good to see.
5 goals in his last 5 games for Mike Levin.
Love to see that, again, because he was struggling so much early on, and it didn't look like he was doing anything out of the ordinary. It just looked like he was gripping his stick too hard for the first part of the season, and it was great to see him get an ugly one after the hat-trick performance.
And then a couple of minutes later, it's the Guelph native Brady Wasslin with a great play over to Mason Ray, who, when you put your stick on the ice, good things happen, and he was able to just redirect that one that was able to just squeak past Ellsworth. But I know you were really pleased with the way Brady Wasslin, number 66, set up the play.
Well, his playmaking ability is just, again, we talked about in the, coming into the season that he's more than likely going to be a goal scorer. But my goodness, the best plays that he's had all season have been his passing plays, and he had this beautiful saucer to Mason Ray, and he's able to get it on net. And an ugly one that I think that Ellsworth probably wants back, and that was kind of you could tell that he was having a rough night. His backup goalie, maybe in his head a little bit, 2-3 quick goals, but on that one specifically, he stopped it initially, but he was just really small in his net, and it just trickled in. Deflating for Guelph, obviously, but it was great to see the IceDogs kind of keep the hammer down. But that line it was interesting seeing the lineup tonight. We didn't really talk about that, but Kevin with Loshko, and then a revolving door at right wing, obviously, since the Paris injury at the beginning of the season. So Galyanov was back up there. And I don't hate that. I think that having a player like Galyanov is important. I don't think that he is... I think that on the first line, he fills in better. Crete was struggling in that role, I think, a little bit early on in his career. But nonetheless, I think that Galyanov did an okay job tonight. And then you had Robrick with Zada and Blake Arrowsmith, and that was allowed the rest of the lineup to kind of go down. So Wasslin was on the third line with Mason Ray as well as Levin. And it was great to see Wasslin's line create offense, because Ray has had such a good stretch of games where he's really using his body and he's finishing every check. The whole team, I thought, tonight might have been their most physical game they've played, and but nonetheless, I thought that Wasslin, he has the hockey IQ to carry his line, and it's unbelievable to see it as a 16-year-old. It was a lot like Ryan last year, but he did it with his shot, where he would finish everything. He just needed the puck, right? Wasslin's in a different category, where he's able to just find everyone, and he saucered that right over and made it real easy for Mason Ray to redirect that in.
Yeah, we keep talking about his playmaking ability. He just continues to develop.
He's going to start scoring. In his career. Yeah, he's going to start scoring, and then that's just going to. I think next season is going to be pretty crazy for him.
Mike Levin gets a secondary assist on that, so 2 points on the night from Mike Levin. And then the final goal in the middle period for the IceDogs, 4 unanswered goals. Ethan Zada gets the return favor from Ryan Rubrick after they had a nice just give-and-go play cross crease, basically the exact same way that Zada found Rubrick for the first goal, and it gives the IceDogs a 4-2 lead on Zada's 7th.
Yeah, offensively, Zada's just really taken that step that we hoped he would. Again, I mentioned to you during the game, I believe that's 11 points in his last 10 games now. So even though he had a little bit of a slow start to this beginning of the season, physically he has been fantastic. He's one of the harder hitters on the team. He always plays with that edge. And then tonight, both of the goal as well as his setup on the prior one, just really fun to see, because he's super important to the team. And like I said, when Astorn and Paris come back, we talk about it quite a bit. the lineup is going to fall into place into a position where you're going to see the bottom six be able to take advantage of the teams that are not as deep, and I'm really curious to see what happens with Zada because he's really elevated his game. Asadorian is a fantastic center, and he has been for a long time, but I'm curious to see who's second and third line center and who stays with who, because if Zada and Robert keep playing like this, I don't know how you can separate them.
Well, we know Ben Boudreau is going to ride the hot hand in that sense, so
exactly.
It'll be a healthy competition there. The IceDogs led 4-1. At that point, they gave up a goal 30 seconds later, so again, a little bit of angst there. Parker Snellgrove gets the goal from Carter Stevens, and Guelph at least has some life here.
That was, so on that play, it was unfortunate. I felt bad for Frasca because he hadn't gotten a lot of ice time, and he was on for that, he just hopped over the boards, and then, 10 seconds later, he gets a goal given up. But Scott was so this was a very physical game, and I thought Scott got into a cross-checking battle in front of the net, lost the puck a little bit, and ended up just squeaking out in front. Not all on him, but just a tough sequence there. And yeah, obviously you don't want to see them, give up the puck the goal right after that. I think the worst and more concerning one though is that there's a growing trend of early in periods and early in games of the IceDogs giving up goals, and there was 2 in this one. So in the second period, obviously, that first goal of the game is real early in the first minute. I believe first minute or right after. And then the very beginning of the third period, 30 seconds in as well, they give up another goal. And, I don't know what that is. I don't know why. I don't know if it's, maybe the lineup they're starting off. I have no idea what it is, but it's happened a number of times throughout the season.
Yeah, Jet Luchenko gets that goal early in the third period, 26 seconds in from Max Nemestikov, and it gets the Guelph Storm back within a goal, and you're thinking, okay, this isn't a comfortable lead anymore like it was at 4-1, and we get about midway through the third period, and to me, the save of the night for sure in the OHL. I don't know about the other games that are going on, but given that situation where Guelph could have tied it with one shot, rebound goes out to the Guelph Storm. It looks like a wide open net, and Owen Flores sprawls to his right, gets it with the paddle, and keeps it a one-goal game, and that right there ended up being the difference.
It was like a Braden Holtby Cup final save in Washington. That was when it happened. It was a rebound that kicked right out, and I believe it wasn't Luchenko. It might have been McFadden. I believe it was one of their higher-end players, but my goodness, I don't know how he got his paddle on it. It was a wide-open net, just a absolute desperation save from Flores, and it's just you don't realize how having someone like Flores in net, it's a tie game. It's completely, the game's wide open, but having him back or just having him in the net is just such a rock-solid safety net, and that was definitely a save of the night. I would be blown away if there was a save better than that.
And then Ryan Rubrick gets the empty net goal after Guelph had called the timeout, and they had a few chances, but Rubrick, the nice flip pass from Noah Van Vliet out of his own end, and he really earned a point tonight, but Ryan Rubrick gets his 17th and 18th into the empty net, but good on Noah Van Vliet because he was all over the ice tonight.
I had my favorite Van Vliet. We laughed about this when it was happening. The Guelph Storm did not like Kevin He. All right, that was a block, or that was a whiteboard material, something, obviously given what happened the last time that these two teams met, Kevin ends up getting suspended because having to help out his teammate essentially, and got the second fight suspension. But my goodness, every single player on Guelph was trying to finish their check and get after Kevin, and Kevin ended up laying the bigger hits, which was it's so funny to watch him. But there was a sequence where Cam Allen was just giving him the gears and in the corner, and Van Vliet went over and just laughed him off. And it's just it's funny, picks. And Cam Allen is a very, very large player, an NHL drafted player. It wasn't a fourth liner, right? And he's so calm. Like, we talk about this all the time. It's funny. Van Vliet plays so physical, and he's gigantic, but he's just so oddly calm. You never see him really get angry. And you really saw his value though, just there, because he stood up for his captain in a situation where like I said, the entire Guelph Storm was just trying to get after Kevin the entire game, and it's funny watching that. That's not going to show up in the box score or anything like that, but he's just been so rock solid, and like I said, the physicality that he brings, and just he's like the sheriff. That's the best way to describe it. He's just smiling, got him away from Kevin, and I thought it was very, very good to see him stick up for his teammates. That's why he's here.
I call him security. He just clears the area.
That's it. It was it. But the way that he did it is it's always so comical because it's just like a dad with their kids, because he's just so big. So he had a couple sequences where there's scrums and he just kind of ragdolls people, but he doesn't do it chirping or you know what I mean? He just does it nonchalantly, and it's always funny to watch.
He might have had the play of the game in the defensive end on that breakaway where he was able to get all puck instead of taking him down for either a penalty or a penalty shot.
I would love to watch a clip of that. I have no idea. He dove well beat. It was a bad breakaway, and somehow he was able to dive. Again, not a small person, not the most agile, and he was able to get all puck, not take a penalty or a penalty shot, and that was at a very important part of the game as well. So, I forgot all about that. That's a super impressive play. Yeah, Van Vliet had a fantastic game tonight.
Yeah, I have a feeling he might be your honorable mention tonight.
I was thinking about that before that. I forgot all about the non-penalty shot dive. That was nuts.
That's okay. I forgot about the Crete fight early in the second period that changed the momentum of the game. So we're even there.
There you go.
So we'll be right back after the commercial break. We're going to hear more from IceDogs head coach Ben Boudreau on his team's 5-3 victory, as well as newcomer forward Blake Arrowsmith on the player post-game, his first game as a Niagara IceDog. So stay right here. We're right back on the Dog Pound Podcast, the official podcast of your Niagara IceDogs, proudly brought to you by Global Pet Foods, where pets are undeniably part of the family.
In the Niagara region, Global Pet Foods is your destination for premium pet nutrition and caring expertise. Whether you've welcomed a new furry family member or need advice on top quality nutrition, their dedicated staff is ready to help. Discover why Global Pet Foods' lesser-known premium brands outshine the big corporate names. Their team's passion ensures your pet's health and vitality. Check out one of their locations today: 3643 Portage Road in Niagara Falls, 160 Highway 20 in Font Hill, or 400 Scott Street and 344 Glendale Avenue in St. Catharines. Global Pet Foods, where premium brands and caring staff make the difference.
Wild Bill's Auto Repair is your local center for auto maintenance and repair in the Niagara region. Since 2012, Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop has been helping customers stay safe and confident on the road, knowing their vehicle is in top running condition through the garage's services. Located at 7868 Oakwood Drive in Niagara Falls, the garage started as a tribute to the owner's father, William Robert Hunter, who passed away, continuing the same community spirit and high level of service which customers can expect from him back at Hunter's Auto Repair. Their multi-award-winning auto shop has earned the trust of the Niagara community with its fair treatment of all customers who can feel confident they'll get trustworthy advice and repairs during their visit. Their experienced crew loves meeting new people and looks forward to forming a lasting partnership for the care of your vehicles. To find out more or to book a service, contact them today at 905-358-7868 or wildbillsauto.ca. Wild Bill's Auto Repair, helping customers stay safe and confident on the road since 2012.
Fuel up your day with Gale's Gas Bars. They're your go-to gas station in the Niagara region. Remember, at Gale's, they're not just a gas station, they're a local tradition. Whether you're hitting the road or staying cozy at home, choose Gale's. Gale's Gas Bars provide reliable fuel that keeps you moving. Stop in for quality you can trust and service with a smile. Don't settle for less. Head to Gale's Gas Bars today. Because when it comes to fuel, you're going to Gale's! Learn more at gales.ca.
Celebrating a birthday, wedding, graduation, or just watching the big game, Carmine's Pizzeria Italiano is there to satisfy your pizza needs. Serving handmade Italian pizzas created with the freshest top quality ingredients, loaded subs, and their famous chicken wings. Platinum Award recipients of Community Votes Niagara for Best Pizza and Wings in all of the Niagara region 3 years running. Open 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. 7 days a week from their brand new location at 7156 Drummond Road in Niagara Falls. All payment options accepted to fit your convenience. Available for call-ahead pickup or delivery. Place your order today at 905-374-4400 or check out their online menu for the best quality pizza and wing combos you'll find in Niagara at carmine'spizzeria.ca. You've tried the rest, why not try the best? Carmine's Pizzeria Italiano, proudly serving the Niagara community since 2013.
This is Kevin Heath.
This is Brady Waslin.
This is Ethan Zadek.
This is Andre Loshko.
It's Owen Flores.
This is the Dog Pound Podcast.
The official podcast of the Niagara IceDogs.
Welcome back to part 2 of today's Niagara IceDogs game recap right here on the Dog Pound Podcast, the official podcast of your Niagara IceDogs, proudly brought to you by Global Pet Foods, where pets are undeniably part of the family in all 4 of their great Niagara region locations. Brandon Caputo and Cam Halbert are back with you, continuing to break down 5-3 with victory on home ice for the Niagara IceDogs over the Guelph Storm. Thank you to everybody tuned in tonight on our YouTube channel on the live stream, and thank you to those listening the next day in your favorite on-demand audio platform. Cam, it's a winning night for the IceDogs, so you know what that means. Go get your free dog treat at all 4 of our great Niagara region locations, Global Pet Foods. 1 in Niagara Falls, 2 in St. Catharines, 1 in Fawn Hill. Tell them the Dog Pound Podcast sent you courtesy of this win for the Niagara IceDogs. So that would be Friday if you're listening to this the next day. So with that said, Cam, before we get to Ben Boudreau on the Wild Bills Auto Repair postgame, got to be pretty pleased with the IceDogs starting off here. They got Flint tomorrow, back on home ice, and then they're going to be in Peterborough on Sunday. So to me, they got a tough game against Guelph here out of the way. To me, this could be a 6-point week for the IceDogs, stacking some wins together and a confidence builder. Good start to the week, and it's always good when you start off with a win when you got 3 games.
Well, they're about to enter the longest stretch of the season on the road. I believe it's 8 games in a row on the road to close out December. So this is an extremely important stretch, especially this game against Flint. But then obviously an emotional game with going into Peterborough on Sunday. The Petes, who have struggled mightily this season, they're going to do everything they can for Gavin, and, getting the revenge on his former team. But we'll have to wait and see. But again, we've got 2 more games after that Peterborough game. We've got Brampton and Brantford on the 6th and 8th of December, and then I believe it's 7 games on the road all the way up until that New Year's Eve game against Peterborough back here on December 31st. So an extremely hard stretch. Some teams kind of thrive on the road because the camaraderie or the team bonding, that kind of thing. Sometimes that can actually benefit a club. But that being said, it's never easy to go into a barn or a visitor or an away barn 7 games in a row. So they've got to kind of survive that stretch, and getting 6 points this week would be massive.
We're going to get to IceDogs head coach Ben Boudreau's post-game thoughts on the Wild Bills Auto Repair post-game, brought to you by Wild Bills Auto Repair, helping customers stay safe and confident on the road in Niagara since 2012 in honor of the late William Robert Hunter. Here's what the IceDogs head coach had to say following his team's bounce-back performance against this Guelph Storm after just losing to them up in Guelph 8-5 just a few weeks ago.
A couple of things. Got a win, which is fantastic. I didn't think it was an overly comfortable win in the third period, though, was it? Because they threw everything they had at you, and they could have easily tied that game. I think.
Yeah, you have a 4-1 lead, and you want to learn in those positions. It's not a point night. That's where you want to keep it 4-1, and I think we've done that a lot, and that's something that we've addressed. But again, I think it's managing expectations and how you respond to those expectations. It's tough to be perfect. There's going to be a game of mistakes, and we made a couple that ended up costing it, but it's how we learn from it. And I think the perfect example of the game when it comes down to an individual at the end of the first period, Max Creed took a penalty from turning the puck over, but his response in the second drop in the midst completely sparked our team, and so I thought that was a great standpoint from there.
Sure. Zada played such a great game. What's the difference between him this year and last year?
Oh, I mean, experience. One is huge. When you're 16, there's a lot of figuring it out, and you could really see how the plan has kind of started to work when we played our young 16-year-olds 20 minutes a night, as often as we could. It was now and next year and the year after that are really going to pay dividends in junior hockey, and you can see Zada playing with so much experience because he's been in those situations. He's been in those 1-goal games, and he's becoming a difference maker, growing into a man right before our eyes. And so the way Zada played tonight, I mentioned, I thought that was the best game in a year and a half I've seen him play. And I don't know if it was being passed over on the prospects game or something, but I thought he sent a message to anybody watching. He should have been in that game because if I'm an NHL prospect or if I'm a scout, that's the kind of guy I want on my team.
Absolutely. Him and Rubeck, too, have such a nice chemistry. Is that the idea to put those two guys together? Because they're still both relatively young, obviously, right?
Oh, 100%. They're going to grow together. They're going to learn from each other. And and you saw when we would go into Sudbury last year, when Musty and those guys at 19 years old would just do circles and, playing against a young team. And at some point, the shoe's going to be on the other foot for us. And right now, you can almost say it is. But, they are dominating games at 17, and it's going to be a scary thing when they come to be 19, and all of a sudden they've grown together for 4 years, playing 20, 25 minutes a night at times. So I think it's a blossoming future, and that's what happens with the draft. When you draft well and you pair guys together well, at some point, being in the cycle, our high draft picks from a bad season is going to turn into hopefully a blossoming future.
Sure. Robertson was back as backup tonight. You got a game tomorrow. You got a game Sunday. At some point, you're going to try and get him in there because he probably needs a game at this point.
Well, yeah, if you're thinking about him personally. But I think this is a team mindset. And like we came out, we're here to make the playoffs and we're here to win. So with the way Owen Flores is playing right now, if he's capable of playing, he's going to play.
Okay, that makes sense. Great. Thank you so much. I'll see you tomorrow night.
Appreciate it.
Well, Ben, after what happened up in Guelph a few weeks ago, giving up 8 goals and one of the efforts that you said was one of your worst of the season, how happy are you with them being able to respond and bounce back against this team, because this is the only other time you're going to play them this year? Talk about the collective effort and, showing that you guys could battle back here.
Yeah, I thought, it was a great response. And, how many times have we said that this year where the guys have responded, especially energetic-wise and finding a way to play. So you can almost count on the fact that they were going to be ready, especially from the 3 days of practice that we had this week. So very happy with the response and with the result. And I think it's getting to the point where you're starting to really understand and know what makes these guys tick. And if I could have bet the bottom dollar that they were going to come out ready to play tonight.
You scored 4 unanswered goals in that middle period. You gave up another early goal. I know the early goals are something that you want to address and correct, but for your team to battle back with 4 unanswered goals in that middle period, just how big was that to change the tide and the momentum? Because Guelph was, really doing a good job of honing you guys in, but then you really took control of the game at that point.
I respect Guelph a lot. I think they're a really good hockey team with some really good players, and they play tough and physical, and they're very well coached. And to be honest, I don't think their record shows really how good they are. So there's a lot of respect over there, and it's very tough. Luchenko beat Galyanov to the net and scored 30 seconds in. They made a play, and that's what really good players do. They got a 7th overall NHL draft pick with 4 games under his belt over there. It's going to be tough to contain that guy. It's how do you stop him? Well, you don't. It's you limit him to what he's going to get. And I think the last time out, he had 4 points or 5 points against us, and limiting to I think only 2 tonight was a great effort. So we made a mistake early on, but you got to give that guy an opportunity to earn it back, and had him right back out there on the next shift. And I thought Galyanov closed the game pretty well.
In that third period, 32 saves, so it wasn't his biggest save effort of the season, but that sprawling save on the rebound that Flores made to keep it a 1-goal lead in your favor. Just how big was that for your overage goaltender? And he's done it all year, but at that point, save of the night for sure.
You can't teach that. That's just unbelievable goaltending, great reaction. And what you ask your goalie to do to give you a chance to win is come up with the routines and maybe steal one that you need a little extra help. And that's exactly what he did. Speak of the devil as he walks by, but great goalie, and that's why I said we're in a position where we want to win right now. It's been too long since having that opportunity, and Owen Flores right now gives us the best chance to win. So as long as he's healthy and motivated, we're going to make sure that we give him an opportunity to play as many games as he can.
Lastly, newcomer Blake Arrowsmith coming over from London, gave up 2 third-rounders to get him, so a decently high return going back the other way. What did you like from his game tonight? And I saw that you put him with the other 17-year-olds in Rubrick and Zada. What did you like from number 18's game tonight in his first time?
Yeah, this is going to be a group that you want to assemble to grow together. And like you said, you're in a league where that has cycles, and they should be good because the majority of the team are 19 years old type thing. And, the guys that are driving the bus right now for us are, second line 17-year-olds. And we want them to hopefully have stability with years, with the same coach, with the same message, with the same type of influence, both on and off the ice. And that's how you build the culture. And right now we're establishing what it is to come to the rink rink every night, and that's expecting to win, but expecting to win playing a team way while representing the community in a very positive atmosphere. So you add a Blake Arrowsmith, and yes, you give up a lot, but you're looking at your future, and it wasn't that we only had single third-round picks in those years. I mean, they were expendable picks. I thought our management did a great job of identifying a need, which was a right shot, the age, which was an 07, and obviously his ability to play physical and speed. And on that Zada goal, it was all him turning it over on the forecheck. So great job on Blake, and he's going to get adjusted and to the minutes that he plays here compared to what he did in London. And great kid, which speaks volumes off the ice.
Thanks, Coach. See you tomorrow.
Thank you.
There was IceDogs head coach Ben Boudreau on the Wild Bills auto repair postgame. Cam, always honest thoughts from the IceDogs head coach, honest assessment of his team, battling back with a great effort here against the Guelph Storm. Talked about Charlie Robertson as well, getting back in there. Max Crete bouncing back after a penalty in the first period that he'd want to have back, and then also mentioned the newcomer Blake Arrowsmith.
Yeah, I'm glad that he pointed out the Max Crete situation, because you could see it from up here. That Max took that penalty because he lost the puck, so turnover, and then took a penalty to put his team down, all because of a mistake he made. And again, as a 16-year-old, it's tough, and he's fallen to he's not playing on the top line anymore. Tonight he started essentially on the fourth line, right? So he didn't have a ton of minutes, and he makes that mistake, and then the goal at the beginning of the period, again, was influenced by the power play, didn't count as a power play goal, and then he did not. Like I said, the fight was not something after a big hit. It was, they were behind the play, and someone on Guelph decided to answer the bell, and Max did a great job. I remember watching last year, like Frolov. Remember that? That was a big one. And didn't love seeing that. I think it was against Jadlicki last year, because Frolov, wasn't known for that kind of stuff, right? But nonetheless, this was different because Max was asking for it, and like I said, he handled himself good. But the reason why it was so important, I think, to bring up was that he could identify that his team needed something. Like I said, the building was kind of quiet. The team was, they weren't playing bad by any stretch of the imagination. They're down a goal, and he wanted to make an impact for his team. A limited role, and that's exactly what he did. And I'm glad that the coach pointed that out, because I think that's important. And it really did change the game, I think, in my opinion. It's something, again, about hockey that you can't really explain why, but when you see that, everyone on the bench is fired up, especially in a game like this where they did not like each other. Like I said, this was the hardest hitting game that I've seen the IceDogs participate in, where every single check was finished, and that was just kind of a big exclamation point on it. The point about Flores, like we've talked about that all season, is that Robertson, even when the suspension happened, there wasn't any. If that suspension doesn't happen, where Flores fights Ivan Kovic, Robertson might not have played a ton anyways, right? But again, those situations happen. Hopefully that one doesn't happen again. I don't think it will. But having Robertson be able to go in as opposed to an emergency call up is just far different, ease of mind, right? Because that's a scheduled loss, essentially, when something like that happens, and they've got to go all out to try and fix it. Robertson is a very good goaltender, and he's going to have a limited role, I would suspect, but there is going to be some games where he's going to have to give Flores some time off, and it probably won't be for a little while.
And we both raised our eyebrows when he brought up Ethan Zada, talking about
his best game. Yeah, like it's easy to see. Like, again, from up here, we kind of get to see the bird's eye view of everything. But Zada's physical. And I think I think that he got caught up trying to drop penalties too much early on in the season. He is, again, finishes all his checks hard. Among the forwards, he's one of the more. He's probably the most physical. Maybe other than Kevin. Kevin's a different kind of physical, because people run into him. But Zada finishes his check. It was a great hit to cause a turnover, and then, like I said, his offensive ability is starting to come through now. It's those plays that he made today were not gimmies, throw it at the net. The Brody and Levin goal was one of those, which is what you need. But you want to see Zada be able to kind of use his hockey IQ, and you saw that today. And like I said, best game, and 11 points in his last 10 games. Yeah, and he brought up maybe he was. A little bit motivation for being snubbed from the recent CHL USA Prospects Challenge. Head coach Ben Boudreau said he should have been there, but, good rousing endorsement for him as he's going to continue. Hopefully, the next Central Scouting list, I think he's going to be higher than what he was ranked at the beginning of the year. I'll be honest with you. I'd love to go back and look at the date, but I have a feeling that those two might correlate a little bit now that I think about it, because that happened, about 3-4 weeks ago? Yeah, I would love to see Zada's before that and after the what was it?
Central scouting
his
list.
E rating, which is like 6th, 7th round.
Yep.
I'd love to see if that kind of correlates, because it might. And again, these guys that are have a shot at getting drafted. When you see that stuff, we talked about this when Kevin got drafted, and you have the highlight on Roberk and Wassland next year, but that breeds the other players in the locker room that are in their draft year. Not everyone is obviously going to get drafted in the NHL. It's very difficult to get drafted in the NHL, but there's some that have the pedigree to do so if they work hard enough, and they start. It's kind of contagious, and I think we're seeing that with Zada.
Yeah, and that line tonight, Zada, Rubrick, and
Fantastic.
Arrowsmith got better as the game went on, obviously, because they hadn't played together a whole lot. So you saw that as the game went on.
Yeah, I thought early on that was like the one thing. Zada had a 2-on-1 with Arrowsmith that I thought was just a slam dunk, and I don't know if it hit something. It was uncharacteristically rough, and they kind of got hemmed in the first couple shifts they had. But then once the second period on, man, they looked great.
We'll get to our IceDogs feature player interview tonight, and it is with newcomer Blake Arrowsmith, brought to you by Cully's Original Sports Bar, proud supporter of Niagara IceDogs hockey. Whether you're gearing up for the game or celebrating a big win, Cully's is the place to be before and after every IceDogs game. Cully's, it happens here. Here is number 18 on his first game as a member of the Niagara IceDogs. Back in the postgame with newcomer forward for the Niagara IceDogs, Blake Arrowsmith. Blake, first game with the new team can always be a nerve-wracking thing. Come away with the 2 points. You played against Guelph, being in the Western Conference, so was that a little bit easier with playing against an opponent you kind of know pretty well?
Yeah, I mean, I've only got to play them maybe once or twice, but I'm just starting to get a little bit more confident out there, and obviously playing with Rubrick and Zada, they're great players, so it just makes things a ton easier out there, and just good first game.
When you got the call this week, was it a little bit shocking to you, or were you kind of welcoming the opportunity for getting a bigger opportunity? Because obviously London, they've got 12 NHL prospects on their team, so getting a bigger opportunity with a young up-and-coming team, was that something that you were kind of looking for as in your next step?
Yeah, I mean, London's a great place and a great city, and I really enjoyed my time there. Great group of guys, and the management there is great. They really care about their players. But yeah, they're just so good this year, and unfortunately there wasn't a spot there for me. So I appreciate them, doing what's best for me and setting me up somewhere where I can play the game that I love and just have fun.
And in limited playing time, you've gotten 4 goals and a couple assists under your belt so far. And that one against Sioux, I must say, was a highlight reel goal that you scored there. But, how have you felt like your game has been in that limited ice time? And now that you're going to get more of an opportunity, just how much do you think you're going to relish that?
Yeah, I mean, again, just feel more confident out there and feel more confident out there. And like I said earlier, playing with Rubrick and Zada really helps. And just trying to take advantage of whatever ice time I can get and playing hard and playing physical and just doing what I can out there.
Yeah, I noticed you had a little bit of a bite to your game. What do you think is the strongest asset that you bring and that you're going to try to work on here with the IceDogs and that IceDog fans should look for from you?
Just speed and physicality. I like to try and play like a power forward, and so whenever I get the puck or just trying to take it to the net, and whenever I don't have the puck, I'm just trying to work as hard as I can and play physical to get it back and help the team win.
Lastly, a little bit more of a lighthearted question for you. It's Thanksgiving in the United States. You're an American boy. Were you able to kind of celebrate with something today? I know it's not Thanksgiving up in Canada, but what's your routine usually for Thanksgiving down there in America?
Oh yeah, just family dinner. Everyone get together and spend time together with loved ones, and unfortunately couldn't do that here today, but thankfully we got the win, and my mom was here watching the game, so that makes it even more special.
Favorite meal on Thanksgiving?
Probably stuffing.
Stuffing guy. Hey, I appreciate that. I'm a turkey guy, but stuffing's pretty good too. Yeah. IceDogs newcomer forward Blake Arrowsmith. Blake, thanks a lot for doing this. Congratulations on the win and welcome to Niagara.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
There was IceDogs newcomer forward Blake Arrowsmith on the Cully's player post game. Cam, big stuffing guy with it being American Thanksgiving. Again, happy Thanksgiving to all of our American listeners. But I liked that the fact that he talked about playing with Rubric and Zada. I feel like he complements them very well. And I think if they continue to play together, which, again, we don't know what the lineup's going to look like once Paris and Asadorian come back. But for now, I've really liked that Ben Boudreau put the 17-year-olds all together there with Arrowsmith, Zada, and Rubric. I feel like they, as the game went on, were one of Niagara's best lines.
Absolutely, and I think they all have a bit of an edge to them now. And, thinking about it, we don't know how things are going to shake out, even when the full roster comes back. But, yeah, having 3 players all drafted from the 07 birth year, that's pretty big. And if things go well, these 3 mesh, we could be looking at a line that sticks together for a couple of years, And, again, I think everyone focuses on, making those trades. London is a very common partner with the Niagara IceDogs for the last few years. I'll say this. It's not someone within your conference. So, if a mistake is made in a trade, it's not nearly as devastating. You're not going to see the same player, 7-8 times in a season. And I'll be honest with you, there's been a couple of trades with London that have worked out quite well. Owen Flores is one of them, right? So, he wasn't going to get a spot regularly in the lineup, and he has that offensive flash. He's got 9 points in 24 games in the very limited playing time. So, he didn't get one tonight, but there was a couple plays, especially in the third period, he got real physical. Took a penalty, which made no sense that he was the only one that got taken, by the way.
Should have been offsetting.
Yeah, we don't like doing ref talk here, but I don't understand that one at all. But he came in for defense of his teammate, and he talks about being a power forward. Robrick has an edge to him, kind of a nastiness, not so much. Zada's a little bit more physical. Robrick's a little bit more Corey Perry-ish, like pest level. Just
Zada can be a pest too at times when he's trying to drop penalties.
Absolutely. But they definitely complement each other quite well, and that could be, like I said, if they stick together, in a year or two when they're all massive and in their 19-year-old season, it'd just be fun because they all do play very similar.
Absolutely. So before we get out of here, we're going to put Cam on the spot with our stick tap of the game, brought to you by Hockey Stick Man, Pro Stock Hockey Sticks from major junior teams right up to the NHL teams for half the retail price. A stress-free shopping experience from start to finish. Check them out at hockeystickman.ca to join their mission of saving hockey families money. Cam, you got a lot of options tonight. Rubric, 2 goals and assists. Zada, 2 points. Levin, 2 points. Ray, 2 points. But I know sometimes you like to go off the board too.
Yeah, I gotta give props to Ethan Zada. Like head coach Ben Boudreau said, that was his best game potentially ever as an Ice Dog, from all aspects, whether it's physicality, leadership, his hockey IQ, his offensive play. I thought he was fantastic. Face-off dot was also good. But we also teased a little bit earlier. Van Vliet, again, the safety net in the back end. It's just so comical to watch. If you ever get to come and watch an Ice Dog game, you're not going to notice him a lot because he doesn't have that angry, essence to him, but he's just so big and tough to miss, and he really, again, I think he's much like a police officer on the ice, and tonight I thought he played great, and again, we got to find that clip of, we got to post that on X, that clip, somehow he made that with that no penalty shot diving, that diving stick check on the breakaway, so credit to him as well.
Absolutely. So that's going to wrap it up for another Niagara IceDogs game recap right here on the Dog Pound Podcast, the official podcast of your Niagara IceDogs. Cam, we'll be back right at it tomorrow. Flint's in town, and we'll see if the IceDogs can do it once again.
Yep, big 2 points on the board tomorrow night.
That's it. IceDogs 5, Guelph Storm 3 on the Thursday night here at the Meridian Centre in front of 2,926. Thank you to everybody tuned into the live stream tonight on our Armchair GM Sports Network YouTube channel. Thank you to everybody listening the next day on your favorite on-demand audio platform. IceDogs 5, Guelph Storm 3. We'll talk to you again tomorrow night.